you for coming for another PayPal workshop. And my name is Anna, and I will be your host for today. So, by the way, please have yourselves, if you want to post photos or your experience here online, our Wi-Fi password is #DriveTayo. So, Wi-Fi login details is ASPACE event and password is #DriveTayo. Okay. So feel free to post out your workshop photos and tag us using the hashtag PayPal Freelancers. And don't forget to tag this social media accounts. So also reminding everyone to please take care of all those paintings in the wall. So be extra careful lang po those displayed there. And feel free to sit down here in front. We have beanbags here para mas comfy and relax po tayo this afternoon. Okay? So before we begin, may I ask how many here are currently struggling to have some fun because freelance work is life? As in, yung mga madaming racket dyan, daming ginagawa and all. So, sino dito yung nag-struggle na i-balance yung mga time natin? Yes! Ayan! Okay, lahat naman tayo na-feel yung ganyan. And for us, we need some work-life balance techniques. And with that in mind, I warmly welcome you to PayPal's workshop, The Search for Work-Life Balance. So, also don't miss the latest updates on workshops like this and other exciting news from the PayPal by liking our official Facebook page, PayPal Philippines, and join us in our official Facebook group for freelancers. So that's PayPal Philippines Freelancers Community. Okay? And if you don't have PayPal account yet, you may sign up at www.paypal.com/ph. You can also approach any of our event team and they will assist you in signing up. Okay? They're just everywhere. So feel free to approach them. Okay. So I won't make you wait any longer. We'll meet your PayPal freelancer mentor for today. Our mentor is the founder and CEO of Work From Home Roadmap and VA Bootcamp. When he's not mentoring and inspiring fellow Filipino freelancers, he's a nomad of the world and likes to play board games. Really? So the favorite drink is coffee. So let's all welcome Jason Dulay.
Thank you for that introduction. That already requires Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to this workshop. I appreciate it. You know, we started on time and we have a full house. So give yourselves a round of applause for coming here on time, which is not a very Filipino thing, diba? So I'm proud of you guys. You're progressive as Filipinos. Anyway, this is me. This is my picture here. For those of you that don't know me, founder of the Facebook group Freelancers in the Philippines. We've got over 75,000 members. I'm not asking you to join, but you can. I'm also the founder of Bootcamp.ph. We have over 3,000 enrolled students. It's a paid program. Founder of coffeeshop.ph, so we sell coffee. I'm also not asking you to buy. Online marketing specialist. As a freelancer, I primarily do online marketing. And then I'm a website head for a church. I also have an Airbnb. I also manage Airbnb. So, as you can see, I do a lot of things here. This is. You must be thinking, wow, this guy. Do I really do all of these things? A lot of you probably don't believe me, but I try. I try my best. I do get a lot of stuff done, and a lot of people admire me for that. I don't know why, but they do. They admire me for that. So when it comes to sharing something that I can teach a lot of freelancers, it's work and life balance is one of the things that I believe that I can share with you. And this is something I also struggle with. I know that people don't really see all the aspects of my life if you look online and in different venues, but there is that continuous struggle. It's never perfect. But I'm going to share with you what I've learned throughout the years, how you can achieve this work-life balance. So very quickly, first of all, who here is a member of our Facebook group? Who here is a flipper? Nice, we got flippers in the house. Who here is a student of the Bootcamp? Ooh, we got, how come there are more students though? That doesn't make sense. Who here, anyway, our coverage for today. Our coverage for today is basically around these three things. How to begin your work, your freelance work with a positive outlook, how to achieve high productivity anytime and anywhere, and how to stop procrastinating to have quality time after freelancing. Earlier you guys mentioned, a lot of you raised your hands when it was asked if you were having trouble with the work-life balance. Not all of you raised your hands. For those of you that didn't raise your hands, have you already perfected work-life balance? No, okay. You're just shy to raise your hand. That's fine. I understand that. Most of us, Anyway, most of us don't have work-life balance. Either, I should get another figure. All the way back. No, you're supposed to see that. Let's see. Seriously, when it press the button here, my partner. Okay, so most of us don't have work-life balance. Either we've got the life. There we go. Life is on a higher weight than work, meaning you spend more time watching Netflix, looking at your opas, with family, kids, going to Mangala, playing video games. A lot of us have this part where you have more of life than work. Or the other side of that is when you've got more life than work, more work than life. And this is when you're focused on deadlines, when you're focused on clients, when you're focused on your new skills, when you're focused on new PayPal, new opportunities as well. So who here has, who here is this? Who has more life than work? More life than work. Okay, we've got wow. Okay, nice. Who here has more work than life? Okay. For those of you that have more life than work, you can just leave. You don't need this. For those of you who have more work than life, then you can stay here. This is really for you. I'm sorry, you can stay, and anyone can stay here. It's fine. It's fine if you achieve the But now, as you can see, none of us really have that perfect balance. And if anyone does, they're lying. But the goal really is to get as close as possible to this. Right? The goal is to get this balancing act of work and life. When we're far away, when we're either very heavily focused on work or very heavily focused on life, we're not achieving our full potential. Hello? Yeah, we're not achieving our full potential. And when we don't achieve our full potential, what happens a lot of the time is something we call overwhelm. Have you guys felt overwhelmed?
Yes.
Yeah, all of us have felt overwhelmed at one point or another, and that's one sign that we don't have this whole work and life balance thing all together. There's a quote here by Carl Jung that I'm going to share with you. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then that life was wasted. And you guys, you don't want to waste your lives. I don't think you want to waste your lives, right? So, as much as possible, we want to achieve our potential. We want to attain our potential. And work-life balance is one very strong way of doing that. But if I were to ask you, I want to ask you this question right here. And it would be nice if you would answer this question. What's stopping you from achieving your true potential? I want this to be kind of interactive. You know, we're in a small space here. So if anyone's not shy, you can share. Like, what's stopping you from achieving your potential? Just like 1 or 2 sentence answers, not one. I'm sorry, 1 or 2 word answers, not sentence answers. Like, what's stopping you from achieving your full potential? Time, okay. Not enough time. Fear, okay. People who are scared, the people who don't have time. Overthinking, okay. Putting other people before us. Did someone say exhaustion? Energy, okay. The opportunities. Alright, we got some good answers here. Well, those answers that you guys gave, I already knew you were going to give them. These are the same answers that we get when we ask our members, our students, what's stopping you from achieving your potential? And if I were to categorize the answers, everybody's answers into 3 categories, they would be, first of all, is fear or negativity. So that's actually one of the biggest things that stop people. Fear and negativity. When you overthink, when a lot of people said fear, there was someone said overthinking. Also, the second category that we have here is time management. If you say you don't have enough time, it's usually because we all have the same amount of hours every day. I wouldn't say we don't have enough time. It's more of a problem of time management than actually having time. And the third category is skills or abilities. Like if you don't have enough opportunities, maybe you need more skills, maybe you need more abilities. So how do we address these 3 things? Okay. So for fear and negativity, we have confidence and motivation. We're going to focus on confidence and motivation. For time management, we're going to focus on productivity and focus. For skills and abilities, unfortunately, we can't cover that in this session, but I do know a course that you can enroll in to get more skills. Yes, so we're going to focus on confidence, motivation, productivity, and focus. And let's go in detail. Okay, so our coverage in detail. What we're specifically covering is how to start your workday right. Next is how to handle stress when juggling multiple projects and clients at once. How to work efficiently in order to get freelance tasks done in less time. How to optimize your work process. Task prioritization strategies for freelancers. And we're not done, we have more. How to submit quality work under time pressure. How to successfully beat deadlines. How to avoid procrastination and get things done in the right way. How to remain inspired as a freelancer. Time management techniques for satisfying freelance and life balance. And how to have a positive work attitude as a freelancer. So we're talking about a lot of things today. There's a lot of things we're going to cover. So are you guys overwhelmed yet? With all the things we're going to talk about in this short period of time. I hope we can cover everything. It's a lot to cover. Well, you mentioned earlier that you have felt overwhelmed before. Maybe you're feeling it now. I'm sorry if you got overwhelmed with the coverage. But we do feel overwhelmed a lot of times. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, or if you've ever felt overwhelmed before, I want to take you guys on a little activity. So just follow my instructions. You all attended this, so that means that you trust me. So yes, you do trust me because you attended this session. First of all, let's do this together. Let's try to kind of not feel so overwhelmed anymore. So I want you guys to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay. And then just, it says on the screen, which you can't see anymore, it says just breathe. It says just breathe. Okay. And now don't think about anything else. You know, don't over breathe. Don't think about anything else. Just focus on your breathing. Okay, just focus on your breathing. focus on the breath coming in and the breath coming out. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, thank you guys for doing that. You can now open your eyes. Thank you for going on that journey with me. I hope you feel more relaxed. Okay, a bit uncomfortable, a bit shy, and usually you don't do that in a group setting. You do it alone. And when you do it alone, it's actually, does anybody know what it's called? Meditation. Okay. Now you might be thinking, why are we talking about meditation? You know, meditation is always like those people who are all, in there. They have who are in the monasteries. That's like the typical stereotype of meditation. But meditation really, it's not your typical stereotype. It's being aware and being present. It's being aware and being present. A lot of the times we feel overwhelmed because we're thinking of things that, number one, haven't happened yet, that are happening in the future. Oh no, tomorrow I have to do this. Oh no, later the client is going to email me. Oh no, I have to send these, blah, blah, blah. So those are things that are not occurring yet. Those are things in the future. If you focus on the future, a lot of times you'll get overwhelmed. Also, if you focus on the past, a lot of times you'll get overwhelmed as well. Or you'll feel sad. Oh no, my boyfriend broke up with me. So sad, or whatever, things like that. Meditation is being aware and just being in the present. The whole breathing exercise, it's not really about breathing. The breathing is kind of a distraction for you to being able to focus on your breathing. And meditation, one of the great benefits of meditation, we're talking about meditation, this whole work-life balance topic. I find it very important for focus and control. Meditation helps you focus. Now, in our exercise earlier, we were meditating. Did you think of other things? Did you think of other things?
No.
No? You were fully focused on your meditation. You weren't thinking about the person next to you or about your things that might get stolen, your cell phone. Maybe you were. But a lot of the times when we try to focus, it's hard. Focus is one of those things that's really hard to do. When you focus on a task, when you start meditating, like meditation sessions, they can take like 15 minutes. And focusing for 15 minutes is really, that's a hard thing to do. But what meditation does, it helps you practice. They said practice makes perfect. And once we're able to focus more in meditation, we're able to focus more in our work, in everything we do. We're able to focus on the present more. We're able to be aware, rather than think about the future and think about the past. Another great benefit of meditation is it makes you more relaxed. It doesn't give you stress, but it relieves stress. And has a lot of health benefits. If you Google meditation health benefits, there's like best for your heart, better for your breathing, and so on. We can't list them all here, but there are a lot of health benefits as well for meditation. Now, the goal of meditation is to be present. It's not to think about the past, not to think about the future. And here's a quick how-to. I won't focus on this too much, but the quick how-to with meditation is find a place with minimal distractions. So minimal audio distractions, minimal visual distractions as well. Like if you have kids, hopefully your kid won't run in the room and scream for you. Next, close your eyes, breathe, count your breaths. So we didn't do that earlier, but one thing you can do, and this helps me focus when I do meditation, is you count your breaths. Go 1, 2, 1, 3. You don't go that fast, but you count when you're breathing. And that just helps you focus. Helps you focus on the numbers rather than thinking about, oh no, later I have to do this and I have to do that. It just helps you focus on your breathing, helps you focus on the counting. And just being aware of where you are, being aware of your own breathing, and more advanced techniques, you be aware of the things around you. But what's most important is that you're in the present. You're not worried about the future, you're not worried about the past. Now, to close out our topic of meditation, that was a past discussion about meditation, we have some recommended meditation apps. These just help you meditate. And once again, we started with meditation. I know, like, I never believed in meditation. When I was, like, for years and years, I've been hearing, oh, meditation is good for you. I was like, no, I don't really believe in it. But after I started practicing it, then I realized that yes, it helps me focus more. And the more I focus, the more work I can do. The more work I can do, the more time I have for my life. So I have some recommended meditation apps. The Muse headset, this is actually hardware. It's not an app, but it comes with an app. I have it in my bag. Oh, here it is. Thank you. So this is the Muse headset. They didn't pay me for this, but I bought this for like $200. It's sold in the States. It is expensive, but it helps. Like, it has these brain tracker thingies that track your brain waves up or and yeah, they track your brain waves and make sure that you have a score for meditating. It's pretty high tech. We have some other apps. Insight Timer is free. There are some paid stuff with it. Also, Calm is another app. These are both free apps. Also, the Muse app's actually free, but you can buy the headset to have the scientific measurements and all that. So these are some recommended apps for meditation. Okay, so aside from meditation, the next thing I find is that's really important for work and life balance is something we call your personal mission statement. Your personal mission statement. So what is, and a lot of you might be thinking, what is a personal mission statement? That's things that companies have, mission statements. But we all of us should have our own personal mission statements, especially since we're freelancers and business owners. Freelancers are business owners, especially since we are freelancers, we should have our personal mission statement. The personal mission statement is what you're trying to achieve every single day. It's what you're trying to achieve every day. And it is who you are. It tells you who you are. And it guides you in making your day-to-day decisions. Now, I'm going to share a couple of my own personal mission statements here. So, I learn new things every day. Very simple, right? Very simple. The happiness of those I love are the most important things to me. So, these are very simple mission statements. And next, I do things for the future and security of my family. And then, we've got, I'm a leader and a good example for others. So these are some of my own personal mission statements, and I recommend that you make your own personal mission statements. It's important because when you're faced with decisions, a lot of times we're faced with choices. We're faced with decisions that we have to make. Decisions that we have to make. And when we choose between one choice or another, your personal mission statement should help you decide whether to go this way or that way. Now I've got a situation over here. Situation on next slide. Okay, so the situation here is that you're out to watch a concert with your husband or your wife. Maybe it's Backstreet Boys or something. You're out watching a concert, and you've been planning to watch this concert for months. So you bought the tickets in advance. You both of you are very excited to watch the concert. Your client or your boss calls you and says they have an emergency and need you to do some work. So the question here is, do you go to the concert or do you do work? Who here will go to the concert? Who here is going to do work? Okay, it looks like it's pretty split. It's pretty split, right? And there are no right or wrong answers here. There are no right or wrong answers here. But what will determine your decision here is really going to be your personal mission statement. what do you prioritize? Is your mission about making more money in the present? If it's about making more money in the present, maybe you'll go to the concert, because you're going to make more money in the present, and then you have to tell your partner, that you're building for the future and so on. But of course, if it's maybe the present happiness, then you go to the concert. So it really depends. And the reason, I'm reiterating this because I find it really important, the reason why we have those personal mission statements is for you to be guided, really, in your day-to-day decisions. Aside from guidance, let's go to the next slide. Aside from guidance, your mission statement can also motivate you when you feel sad and when you feel like not working. We feel that sometimes, right? Don't lie, you feel that sometimes, right? Yeah, we all feel that sometimes. We feel like not working sometimes. And when we look at our mission statements, you say, okay, I'm doing this, for the security of my family, for the future of my family, for our happiness, and so on. Then you can look back on your mission statement and then think, will doing this help me fulfill my mission? Will doing this help me fulfill my mission? And what I shared earlier were a lot of personal mission statements. It doesn't need to be personal mission statements. Maybe your mission statement is to help the hungry, help the hungry in the world. That's totally fine too. But it's also, I find that a lot of us don't really, we care about the hungry, right? Yes. Yeah, we care about the hungry, but let's be honest, a lot of us aren't going to be the ones to go to Africa or to the poorer parts of the Philippines and then spend our time there. We care, but we don't care that much. Who's watching? But yeah, we don't care enough to do that. Unless that's your own mission statement. So if that's your own mission statement, then maybe you can go ahead and do that. Have your personal mission statement. It will not only guide you, but it will also motivate you. Another important aspect in life, in a balanced life, is having the balanced life. As a freelancer, we don't just want to be happy with work. So this session here, this workshop here, isn't just about work. This is about all the aspects of life. And I'm here because I want to help you with these aspects of life. We found, in a book, Miracle Morning. Have you guys read that book? Oh, nobody's read that book, but there is a book called Miracle Morning, so now you're aware of that. There are 10 aspects for a balanced life. There's family and friends, there's personal development, there's spirituality, there's finances, there's career and business, there's marriage or relationships, there's fun, there's giving, there's physical environment, and then there's health and fitness. So a balanced life optimally focuses on, or not focuses totally, but takes into account all these 10 different aspects of your life. Because if you're focused on finances, you're going to sacrifice the other parts. You're going to sacrifice your family and friends. You're going to sacrifice your spirituality, your health and fitness. So you should take into account all these different things here. I'm going to show you a picture of a journal. Who does journaling here? Okay. Mostly all girls. Raise your hand. That's okay. If you're a guy, don't be shy. Raise your hand. You can journal as well. I've done it in the past. Now, this is courtesy of boboberry.com. But this is a picture of a level 10 life diagram. So it looks very nice. The people who like journaling, they like making these cute drawings and use all these colors. So this is an example of that, where the 10 aspects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are here. And you can, this is the level 10 life picture. If you search for level 10 life, you'll find this here. So the theory here is that you want to have, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these are different ratings in each area of the 10 areas of life. So, for example, marriage, number 6, the person who made this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is currently an 8 in terms of their marriage, but they are a 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of their family and friends. So they're not keeping in touch with family and friends, even though they're happy with their marriage. And this is just a tool to help you see, number 1, what are the aspects of your life that you're taking for granted? And number 2, it helps you create an action plan to improve on the different areas of your life. So on the right, you'll see the 10 areas, and then how you'll get to 10 in each area. So keeping in touch with family and friends, phone, email, text every day, seminars, podcasts for personal development, for spirituality, meditation, practice, and finances and career, and so on. So it helps you see where you are, and then after you know your current situation, you can create action plans to improve in each of the 10 areas. Okay, so what I want us to do is, all of you guys have the PayPal notebooks, right? Yeah. So we have an activity. Yay! It's not a test, so you don't have to be worried. Okay. Number 1. Okay. So I want you to write. You don't need to do the drawing unless you really want to. Just write down the 10 areas of the level 10 life. So there are the 10 areas over here. And then second instruction: rate yourself in each of these 10 areas currently. Rate yourself in each of these 10 areas. So currently in family and friends, what's your rating? What's your rating? And these are personal ratings. I will not check your work, so you don't have to be ashamed. This is just for your own self. This is your personal stuff. So in these 10 areas, write them down, and then rate yourself currently. Okay? Currently. It's a very subjective rating. It really is up to you. How you see yourself. You can be, if you see yourself as a 10, then that's great, you know. If you see yourself as a 1, that's okay too. But how you see yourself in each area, and then what I want you to do next is write down, after you're done rating yourself, write down one thing you can do, one activity in each area that you can do at least once a week to improve in the area. So for family and friends, you write down one, so your rating, let's say your rating is a 2, and then you want to improve that. On the right, you have your action item. What are you going to do to improve that? Call your friend, call one friend every day, or something like that. So I'm going to give you maybe 15 minutes to finish this activity right here. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Raise your hand. Were the instructions clear? Did you guys get the instructions? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, no. If not, then I can repeat them. Just raise your hand, let me know. Physical environment is like where your surroundings. So your house. Yeah, usually it's your house, because you usually can't change where you live, it's harder. But like, is it messy? Yeah. Do you want to arrange stuff in certain ways? And you do have 15 minutes for this, so kind of take your time. And I want you to take this seriously. Don't just write any answer, because this is for yourself. point, do you guys have any questions so far? No questions so far? All right, well, let's pause this movie also. Okay, so now you've listed down your different action items, right? You have your action items listed down? Yes, yes? Okay, so I want you to do, well, I want you to do each of them at least once a week. Do you think you can do that? And it's, once again, it's not for me, it's for yourself. I want you guys to improve in your balanced life and do each of those at least once a week, especially in the areas that you're weaker in. Alright, now all of us woke up this morning, right? If we didn't, then we wouldn't do it, obviously. All of us woke up this morning, and waking up, sometimes we wake up, there's a term, waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Yeah, right? You feel so groggy, you wake up, you have so much muta in your eyes, and then, maybe you drank too much last night, but sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, when we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, sometimes you're in a bad mood, but you don't know why. Sometimes you're just in a bad mood in the morning. Have you guys experienced that? Okay, yeah, we have some on the table here. Okay, and it affects your whole day, right? It really affects your whole day. You don't get as much done. Somebody talks to you, you're just angry for no reason at all. And it happens. It's not just for females in the period. It's also for guys. It happens to guys as well. Also, guy power. We gotta stand up. We also feel angry at times for no reason. It's not just the girls who have excuses. So, one thing I find very important is that you start your morning right. You want to be able to start your morning right. Even though you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, there's something that you can do to kind of get your day right. Your morning can really determine how the rest of your day progresses, how the rest of your day goes. And the first thing in the morning, before checking Facebook, before checking news, you want to start your morning right. A lot of us here, the first thing you do is check Facebook, right? No. People saying no. Okay. A lot of people saying yes also. Or maybe you check email. For those that don't check Facebook, maybe you check email, or maybe you check MySpace. Right? Back in my day, we had MySpace. Okay, so you check like Facebook, you check emails, you check your text messages. Friendster. That's the first thing in the morning, right? That's the first thing you do. But doing that can get you on the wrong foot. Sometimes you see a text and then, you're in a bad mood already. Or you see on Facebook and then you kind of get jealous. Oh, why is that person going to, going to New York and watching napayabang naman ito, and you're bad already, right? Sometimes that happens, we can't help it. Or you check your email, your client emails you, and you're already having a heart attack. Oh, my client emailed me. Sometimes it does happen. And the start of the day, you start the day wrong, you start the day angry, with negative emotions. We want to be able to start the day right. So we have this routine, also in the book Miracle Morning. This routine here, which is, let's just show everything. There's an abbreviation, it's SAVERS, SEVERS. For us to remember easily, SAVERS. And the idea here is that your first hour in the morning, you shouldn't check your phone yet, you shouldn't check social media, you shouldn't open any electronics yet. I know it's very hard to do that just for the first 1 hour in the morning, but if you can do it, then you can start your day right, and it'll affect your entire day. Okay, so the first hour, and you can spend 10 minutes on each. These are 6, so 10 minutes on each. 10 times 6 equals 60. Very good. We're taking an hour. Some of you guys don't know that, but now you do. So S is for silence. So So this is the meditation part. As the silence, even 10 minutes of meditation, just being in the present, just getting in the right frame of mind, and not worrying about anything else. Practicing your focus. Affirmations. We're going to go back to affirmations later. But remember right now, it's starting your morning with affirmations is really good. It's usually affirmations. We're going to go into this later, but it's usually things that we have struggles with. Like if you feel that, a lot of us feel that we're not good enough. That's a very common thought and very painful thought. And in the morning, your affirmation says, I am good enough. So it's very personal. With your affirmations, they're very personal. Those are the thoughts that you struggle with, and then you can affirm yourself in the morning. So 10 minutes, different affirmations, going through slowly. Then visualization. Visualization is visualizing. So visualizing meaning imagining how your ideal or your perfect life would be. And the reason why we visualize in the morning is because when we can see at the beginning of the day, like, okay, so you visualize, you say, you're living by the beach, you have a happy family, you have a car, and all that. The reason why we do this at the beginning of the day is it helps us and it motivates us throughout the rest of the day. So if we start the day motivated, then we can get a lot of things done. Exercise. E is for exercise. Personally, I don't do this in the morning. I should be doing it more often. But when I do exercise, I exercise in the afternoon. But it's part of something you can do every day or every other day. Exercise is really important. Who here, I won't say who here does not exercise. No one's going to raise their hand. Who here exercises regularly? We've got a few people, okay, who exercise regularly. And this is it. I find exercise important. It's one of the most, fitness and health is one of the most taken for granted areas of our life. Especially since we're very focused on making a lot of money. If you live in Metro Manila, everything's so fast paced, and then exercise is taken for granted. But if you get sick, what's that? I think it's like on Central, there's a line like bawal makasakit or something like that. Because when you get sick, you end up not being able to work and you lose productivity. And then if you're working so hard you can't exercise, because you can't exercise you get sick, and then you get sick you can't earn money anyway. So exercise is important. It's one of those investments. Like if you invest like 10 minutes a day, or there's even this whole 7-minute workout. There's an app called 7-Minute Workout. So even 7 minutes. I prefer like 30 minutes every other day of exercising. So exercise is really important. Reading. So reading. This isn't reading Facebook. This isn't reading emails. Okay, that doesn't count. Okay, so yeah, Jason said 10 minutes of reading Facebook. That's not what I mean here. Okay, this is reading something that will help with your personal development. For a lot of people, that could mean reading the Bible. A lot of people are really just reading the Bible, and that helps you in the morning. It helps you start the day right. Or it could be reading inspirational books or anything. But reading, it's part of that creativity process also. When you're reading, you're analyzing information and understanding it. And lastly is scribing here. Scribing, the word for scribing is writing. And in this context, it means journaling. So journaling at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, usually that's how journals usually go, can really help you as well. Now, if you do journaling at the beginning of the day, there's a 1-minute journal, or there's a 5-minute journal. If you Google 5-minute journal, we don't have it here in the slides, but if you Google 5-minute journal, you're going to find a journaling technique that helps you start the day right. And it just takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes at the beginning and 5 minutes at the end, just to review your day and see how it could be improved. So yeah, Google 5-minute journal and you can see it. it's not so much like dear diary. Carlos had to send me today. It's not like that. It's you preparing your day, and you reviewing your day. Okay? It's not the diary thing. It's just more like serious stuff to help you be more productive. Because I remember those ads. I'm that old. Next. Okay, starting your day right. Now, the most common mistake is diving right into work, especially as freelancers. A lot of us here are freelancers. As freelancers, we work from home, which is good, but it's also bad because when you wake up, you check your email, oh, I have to submit this, and you start working. You guys do that?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a common mistake because you start your day in panic mode already. You haven't really motivated yourself. You haven't really started your day right. So that can wait. Work can wait most of the time, unless unless you're system admin and then websites crash. But that rarely happens. Next, when you dive into work, it causes busy work. Busy work means unfocused, ineffective work. Busy work is when you're pretending to work. When you say, I'm busy doing work, but you're not really accomplishing anything. Like, I'm busy doing work, you're researching something, and you go on Facebook for 10 minutes, and then you research again, and you go on Facebook again, and then you check your emails. Busy work, you don't really get anything done. But when somebody talks to you, and says, I'm busy, I'm working. You guys do that? Sometimes your friends ask you, oh, you don't have dinner? I'm busy, I'm so busy. But you're not really doing anything. That's busy work. Next is, starting your day right. One of the most important things about starting your day right is I recommend starting with a list. Okay? So aside from savers, which I shared with you earlier, I highly recommend you start with a list. A list of things to do. There can be a monthly list, a weekly list, or a daily list. These are kind of more advanced. I'd say if you're starting off, start with a daily list of things to do. When you have a list, this is very, very important. For me personally, this is extremely important for getting things done. And we'll go back to the list in later times in this workshop. But the list helps you really plan your day. Okay, how many of you guys have experienced here that you've allocated time to work, but then you have so much to do that you don't know what to do? Have you experienced that? Yeah. Okay, I need to do this, and you start working. I don't know what to do. And the list really helps with that. Because when you list things, and usually this is in our head. We say, oh, I have to do so many different things. I have to do 20 different things. All of those things are in our heads. But when we list them down, we can see exactly what we have to do. And then, what I do personally, I just cross them off one by one. Okay? I list down all the 20 things, and then, okay, I need to work. Rather than thinking, what do I work on? I just look at my list, choose one of the things on my list. When I'm done with it, cross it off. And then I'm done, look at my list again. So, rather than being overwhelmed with all the 20 things, and usually we stop because we're overwhelmed. Instead of being overwhelmed with all the 20 things you have to do, look at your list, choose one, do it. Look at your list, choose one, and do it. Rather than 20 things, you just do one thing at a time. It really helps you do things and really helps you get a lot of stuff done. Okay, now when some recommended apps. The new picture isn't here, but we only have there. So this is these are to-do list apps. Fabulous. It's a to-do list. It also helps you create habits, like morning habits and morning routines. Fabulous because it's very colorful. It's the one over here. It just looks fabulous. That's what I believe. Habitica. If any of you are into RPGs or games, Habitica is really nice because you have a character. This is a level 19 rogue. There's a character, and then you level up your character by finishing your to-do list, by doing your habits like going to the gym and so on. And then you can buy more equipment for your character. You can have a party and then face bosses together. It's actually pretty fun. Also, Loop. Loop is if you're a minimalist, then loop, which is here, will help you out because it's very minimal. It's very clean, and then you can see like a lot of information at a glance. This is, I think, the entire week of different habits that you can do every day. So these are my recommended habits, recommended apps, sorry, especially when you're trying to build good habits and trying to eliminate bad habits. Okay, now when you have your list, moving forward, when you have your list, we can't easily see this properly with a projector, but when you have your list, we have what we call an Eisenhower box. Are you familiar with this? Yes, this is in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is a book I highly recommend. It says here, do, decide, delegate, delete, which is kind of hard to read because of the lighting. But the Eisenhower box is, there are 4 boxes here. There's the important and urgent box, this is quadrant 1. There's the important and not urgent box in quadrant 2. The not important, urgent box, quadrant 3. Not important, not urgent box, quadrant 4. If you want to dive deeper into this, I recommend 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where it talks more in detail about how you deal with each kind of task. Okay, whether it's important, urgent. So the important, urgent things, these are things you have to do right now. The important and not urgent things, these are usually the things that we take for granted. Like important and not urgent, exercise falls here. Because we all know exercise is important, but we never exercise. So that's important and not urgent. Not important and urgent, you usually give that to somebody else, if possible. Or, and then the not important, not urgent, you just don't do them at all. So this is the Eisenhower box. We won't spend too much time here, because it would take a lot of time, but yeah, go and read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It dives deeper into this. Another thing that I personally do every single time I create my list is I break things down. When we create our to-do list, have you guys tried creating to-do lists before? Is it overwhelming when you list down all the things? Yeah, sometimes it's very overwhelming. Because like in our to-do list, you have write a book, right? That's a very hard thing to do. To-do list, find a client. That's a very hard thing to do. Or create a website. Very hard thing to do. So what I recommend to a lot of people is breaking down the list. Breaking down your tasks into smaller tasks. Breaking them down into smaller tasks. Keep breaking down tasks to smaller and smaller tasks. And each micro task should last around 15 to 30 minutes of work. Your to-do list should be a list of tasks that take less than 30 minutes each, and that you can start without much thought or effort. I have an example in a later slide. And once you start on your to-do list, you start getting momentum and you can do one more task every time. Okay, so I want to focus here on the micro task part. When you write down your to-do list, a lot of times the tasks are hard to do. Create a website. That's tough. You can't just create one in one. Sometimes it takes a month to create a website, or even longer if it's a complicated website. But what you can do is break down things into micro tasks. Micro tasks of 15 to 30 minutes each. Because once they're 30 minutes each, you don't really, when you look at your list, you don't really want to think. You just look at your task and say, okay, I can do this, that's easy, let me do it now. You look at your task list, okay, this is something I can do in 30 minutes, I'll do it now. Because once you have a very big task, you look at your to-do list and say, oh no, this is so hard, let me check Facebook first. That happens. You're laughing because you're guilty. So instead of, to prevent that from happening, break down the task into smaller micro tasks. And that will help you get momentum. An example here of a sample task, write a book. Write a book that's extremely overwhelming. I'd rather check Facebook or watch Netflix. If you break it down, You can break it down, say write a chapter of a book. That's a lot easier, right? You can break it down even further and write 500 words without editing. This can be done in 30 minutes if you're a writer, okay? So if you're not a writer and you're trying to write a book, maybe you want to change your to-do list. But if you're a writer, you can write 500 words without editing. The important thing here is without editing, okay? Because if you're editing, it can take like hours. So write 500 words without editing, and then a separate task would be to edit the 500 words. Okay, maybe this will take more than 30 minutes. But as you can see, like these two here are examples of broken down tasks. Broken down enough so that you can just pick up one of the tasks on your to-do list and do it. Pick up one and then do it. That's why the list is extremely important. The list of tasks that are broken down in such a manner that you don't really have to think. You don't really have to invest so much to start one of the tasks. Like creating a website is extremely overwhelming. You have to create an entire website. But if your task is to create one page of a website, it's a lot easier. And then you create one page, and then another task, another to-do, create another page. Okay, I can do that. Okay. And the next task, create another page. I can do that right now. And then you gain momentum, and then before you know it, you're done with the entire website, or you're done with the entire book. So break things down as much as possible. Once you break things down, I recommend putting things in a Kanban. Have you heard of Kanban before? Okay, we have a few yeses, mostly no's. Kanban is usually used with programming, but it's used in software development when they get a lot of things done quickly. But you can use it for your own personal tasks, no matter what kind of work you do. If you're a VA, if you're a writer, if you're a graphic designer, if you're a marketer, you can use a Kanban to prioritize the stuff that you need to do. So this is just prioritize today, tomorrow, later, and then we have a done category there. This software that I used to create this example is, anybody know what software this is? Trello, yeah, good, Trello. So you can do this in Trello. Trello is the simplest. I don't use Trello, I use something more complicated. But Trello is the simplest way to create. Notion is a lot more complicated. Yes. Trello is the simplest way to list down your tasks and put them into these categories. So just put them today, so you can see easily what needs to be done. And these are broken down, especially the todays. They're broken down as much as possible. Draft blog post, edit blog post, schedule blog post, draft outline, draft slides. So as you can see, these are pretty simple tasks to do. Draft an outline for a presentation. Okay, I can do that. But if the task were to create presentation about work and life balance, that's pretty overwhelming, especially since I'm supposed to be here for another 2 hours. Yeah. So, but drafting the outline is something I can do maybe in 30 minutes. Maybe it'll take longer, but when I look at it, I can see, okay, I can start that right now. Next, maybe I'll take a break afterwards. Draft slides for next presentation. So, especially the today and tomorrow, these are broken down. The later ones are, here you can put bigger ones, bigger tasks, like December course. If I create, in the VA Bootcamp, if I create a course for December, then I have it here, December course. But of course, I'm going to break this down into a lot of smaller tasks. But I see it here, that it's something that I have to do for later. And then once you're done, you can just move the things in the list done, and then move things to today. It's pretty easy to prioritize and work on your list in software like Trello and a Kanban software. And Kanban, I think, is Japanese. And you know how Japanese are, they're very no one's Japanese here, right? They get a lot of things done very efficiently. Right. So some recommended apps for your to-do list: Trello, if you like the Kanban method, and then Todoist. This is a lot simpler. You can't really see the details here, but you can just search it like in the App Store or in Google Play and see more details there. Any questions so far? No questions. Oh yes.
Sir, about acronyming, how do you call that?
Savers.
Savers, can you put it into one? Sir Gachi? Like you're in sports and running, you can meditate at the same time.
Oh, you meditate and exercise at the same time.
Running meditation, so definitely running.
If you can, if you're the kind of, and that's harder to do for most people today. But if you're the kind of person that can do it, why not? No problem. Other questions? Okay, so it's time for our second activity. Yay! So you have your, once again, in your notepads, I want you to do this. So first of all, write down everything you need to get done next week. Okay? I know a lot of us have a lot of things to do. We have like 100 things we need to do. So I want you to take a page in your notebook and write down everything you need to get done next week. Put them in an Eisenhower box and then try to break them down. Okay? Or at least the ones you need to do on Monday or Tuesday. Or if you're working tomorrow. Break them down into micro tasks until they can be done in 30 minutes or less. Okay? Questions with instructions here? Sorry? Yes, we can go back to the Eisenhower box. I think we can just copy and paste the Eisenhower box also. We'll copy and paste it to the instructions so that we can view both at the same time. Alright, I didn't want you guys to see that. Huge. It's me and Holly together in some kind of pyramidal structure. Okay, so there's the Eisenhower box for you right there. So you write down the tasks, and this can actually take a lot of time, but it's 15 minutes. Is 15 minutes good for you guys? Yes? I'm not sure how we can. And so we'll give you guys 15 minutes to do this activity. Once again, this is not for me, this is for you guys, because I want you to get a lot of stuff done next week for you to achieve your work-life balance. If you have any questions, let me know. Or put in your tasks today or tomorrow, so if you're working today and tomorrow. Okay, are you guys learning anything? Yes. I was a bit worried there that you weren't learning. But I hope like this activity will help you get your tasks done like tomorrow or next week. Will help you deal with the problem of overwhelm. And somebody had a question earlier about multitasking. Who of you here multitask? Multitask, okay. Well, maybe water. Well, I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but I don't really believe in multitasking so much because there's studies that were done about multitasking. So when you multitask, you're working on multiple tasks at the same time, right? When you multitask, let's say you're working on 3 tasks at the same time, or even 2 tasks, but let's work with 3 tasks. So you have task A, task B, and task C. When you're working on task A, and then you shift task to task B, your brain has to kind of adjust and start over. So it kind of resets. So let's say task A is looking for images. Task B is doing some writing. Task C is writing images and doing research. Task C is doing research. Now, these are different tasks, and when you switch, you kind of have to it takes time for you to reset, to switch from task A to task B. And usually we multitask when we're not working optimally. So if I'm slowing down, let me switch to another task. And then you work on it a little bit, and then you switch back. But when you're switching back and forth, your brain has to take that time to reset and start off again. Next slide. Now, when you're working on a single task, you know how sometimes you get in like work mode and you feel like you get so much done? Have you done that? Yeah, sometimes we're like so productive and we get a lot of things done when we're focused on a single task. And then when you're in work when you're in work mode, you can't really switch out and do something else. Because when you switch out, you reset. And then you slow down and you have to gain your momentum again. When you switch back, you have to gain your momentum again. So rather than multitasking, what I recommend is rapid single tasking, wherein you do one task at a time, like here, do the micro tasks and get them done and move on. Do the task as fast as you can, like here, the micro task should be done in 30 minutes, and then you move on to the next task. That's rapid single tasking rather than multitasking. There are lots of studies that have been done about this, which show that multitasking actually slows you down. If you're to do all 3 tasks individually, it's actually faster than multitasking all 3 tasks at the same time. All right. So another thing when it comes to saving time is using PayPal. Using PayPal to save time. So, and the reason why I've been a PayPal user for over 10 years now. When I was starting these different online pursuits, I signed up with PayPal. It's just a lot smoother and a lot quicker to get paid with PayPal, rather than convincing a client or a company to sign up for another service, and then they have to send in their checks and so on. PayPal is trusted, and it's a system that a lot of companies, a lot of clients already trust and already use. So it's not something new. So I recommend using PayPal to save time. If you're a freelancer, you can send invoices directly to your clients and get paid instantly, rather than spending time with, let's say, international money transfers and figuring out which is the cheapest, paying $35 fee and so on. I've done that also. It takes a lot of time. PayPal can give clients an easy-to-use PayPal Pay Me link. So you say, okay, click on this link, type in the amount of dollars you're going to send me, and send me the money. So it's very quick and easy to use PayPal. That's why I recommend it, even in this discussion about productivity. Okay, moving on. So I asked you this earlier because it was relevant to the discussion, but going back here, sometimes you get in work mode where you get a lot of things done in a little amount of time. But it's rare, right, when this happens. It's not all the time, unless you're Superman, but it's rare. Sometimes, for some of us, it happens like once a week. You get very productive. Sometimes maybe it's happened once in the past month. That you had this one day where you were like Superman and you got so many things done. But the rest of the days, well, you're just normal. You're not super anymore. But for us to be able to continue work mode, for us to be able to continue the high productivity, the super mode, we have to master our time. We have to master our time. Well, in most scenarios, you cannot work 8 hours a day and expect to get quality work done. Not during those entire 8 hours. And this is the reality. How many of you guys have watched The Office? The TV show. Okay. Some people have watched The Office. It's a sitcom about an office environment, and as you can see, the amount of work they get done is like not zero. Okay, but it's like an hour. Maybe they work for an hour a day, and the rest of the 7 hours they're doing something else. And I've experienced this even when I was in corporate, where my productive time is only like 4 hours. The rest of the time is petics. Right? It's petics time. That's how it is. When you're doing manual labor or call center work, it's different because you're just taking calls. So the time matters. But in office work, yeah, most of the time is petics time, or half the time is really petics time. And that term was created because it's true. So when you're working at home, when you're a freelancer, you can't expect to get quality work done if you're working 8 hours a day. It doesn't work in the office. It doesn't work at home. What you should be doing is do what we call deep work. Deep work is when you're at your best and you're not wasting time. There's a book called Deep Work It's a very good book that it shows a lot of examples of people who work for only 2 hours in a day. But those 2 hours are extremely productive 2 hours, which are more productive than somebody's 8-hour day. So I recommend that book as well, Deep Work. And if you can do deep work, we can't discuss the entire book, obviously, since it's a whole book. When you can do deep work, you're at your best. My recommendation is if you're not doing deep work, if you're not doing productive work, you're not at your best, and just do something else. Spend time with your family, maybe relax, do something else, focus on the other aspects of your life, rather than forcing yourself to work when you're not productive, when you're not getting things done anyway. Have you spent hours trying to work and you get nothing done? Yeah, it happens. Right? It happens. And when that happens, it's better to just do something else. Because that time could be spent with your family. That time could be spent maybe you getting a massage if that relaxes you. That time could be spent working in the other aspects of your life, rather than forcing yourself to try to get work done when you're getting nothing done. When you push yourself too hard, next slide. When you push yourself too hard, you end up doing bad work. You end up being too tired to finish the race of life. You end up sacrificing. In fact, you end up being too tired and you end up sacrificing the other aspects in your level 10 life that we talked about earlier. So don't try to push yourself if nothing will come out. It's a toothpaste. Trying to push toothpaste out, nothing's going to come out anyways. There's a term for that. Anyway, now one very productive technique for getting into this state of what we call deep work. We want to be able to do deep work, because when we do deep work, we're at our best, we get a lot of things done, and this gives us time to focus on other aspects of our life. So one very good and highly recommended technique is the Pomodoro technique. Somebody mentioned it before. Honey mentioned it before. Let me show the slide. The Pomodoro technique. Who practices the Pomodoro technique here? And for those that practice it, do you find it helpful? Yes, it is helpful. Sometimes we don't do it properly, but if you can practice the Pomodoro technique, it's extremely helpful, and you can get a lot of things done. You can get focused work and deep work done. So the Pomodoro technique is a technique to get things done quickly and efficiently in a short amount of time. It's based on what we call sprints. Sprints are like running or working as fast as hard as you can and then taking a break. Okay. So have you heard a more common version of sprints are in workouts? HIIT, have you heard of HIIT programs? High intensity interval training. High intensity interval training, where you do something, you do like 7 reps very quickly or 10 reps very quickly, and then you take a break. And that's more effective than continuing to do, like if you're lifting weights, and continuing to do reps, like even just pushing yourself to do max reps over a longer period of time. Doing short period of time, break, and then doing it again, and then break is a lot more effective. So when you work for a period of time, as long as you're effective, and then the break is for you to recover. That's what the break is for you to recover. So the cycle is, here, work as hard as you can without losing momentum, rest enough time for you to recover, and then repeat. So you work hard, then you rest, just enough time for you to recover. You don't rest for 5 hours, okay? That's way too much. That's not sleeping. Finishing one task and then that's not it. Okay? Rest just enough time for you to recover and go back again. Work as hard as you can, get something done, and then rest. And that's the cycle. That's really the Pomodoro cycle. Now the Pomodoro cycle is, we're just going to go over this here. Choose a task on your list. We talked about this list extensively for the past half hour now. And then number 2, set set a 25-minute timer. Third is work on the task for 25 minutes. And very importantly is do nothing else. Just work on the task. You don't entertain any messages. You don't even take phone calls. You just focus on your task and do deep work for 25 minutes. And then fourth, take a 5-minute break. Fifth, repeat. Now after 4 cycles, you take a 30-minute break. So this is kind of, you don't sleep at the end. That's why I gave that picture there. But I think it's just use the same one here. Kind of sends the wrong message. But this is kind of the Pomodoro cycle. You sprint for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. After the 4th one, you take a 30-minute break. This is the Pomodoro cycle. Now, recommended is 25 and 5, but it's different for different people. You don't need to follow this. When you start, if it's your first time, maybe you follow 25-5. But some people can do like 50 minutes, 10 minutes. That's what you follow, so 1 hour. Or 1 hour. Some people do a 1 hour Pomodoro, which is 50 minutes and 10 minutes. I've done Pomodoros, which were actually half the timer. So 12 minutes and 3 minutes. It's more intense than that. So I've done Pomodoros like that. So it really depends on you how much time you can stay in deep work and get things done. Okay. So if you practice this, then you can do those sprints without getting too tired, and then once at the end is a longer break. After the 4 sprints is a longer break. Sometimes this is a 2-hour cycle. This entire thing is a 2-hour cycle, and 2 hours usually that's the time. That's the maximum amount of time where you do work, and then you have to really stop for a longer period of time. If you keep on following Pomodoro, you go back to another cycle after the 2 hours. But what I find for most people is that after the 2 hours, you do something else. Maybe you exercise, maybe you pick up your kids from school, and then later you go back, do another 2-hour cycle. Otherwise, it can get very tiring because this 2-hour work is very intensive work. And I'm not kidding when I say that when I do Pomodoros properly, I can get more done in 2 hours than what a lot of people can get done in 8 hours. Or if I'm not doing Pomodoro, I can get more than 2 hours than spending 8 hours not in Pomodoro. So this is one of my secrets to getting things done quickly. Now, the biggest problem with the Pomodoros and the Pomodoro cycle is distractions. And we have to eliminate distractions as much as possible. Pomodoro is focused work, and distractions, obviously, take you out of focus. Focused work, remember at the very beginning we talked about meditation, which is a practice of focus. And with focus, going back to these distractions, social media is the #1 distraction. Facebook messages, I've turned off notifications for Facebook on my phone because it's just too distracting. You get, somebody commented, somebody shared a picture. It's way too distracting. Reactive work is also distracting, wherein you have to reply to messages like Skype or Slack Messenger. If you're working on a task, my recommendation is to not reply to them when you're in those 25 minutes, when you're working on a specific task. There are also visual distractions. If you get easily distracted, like guys, if you're working in a coffee shop and you easily get distracted by somebody walking by, they could be attractive or not. But if you get easily distracted, then maybe you shouldn't be working in the coffee shop where your crush is all the time. Auditory distractions are sound distractions. Let me just look at my notes here. Okay. And then moods. Sometimes we're moody, and that can be distracting. If you're angry, it's hard to get work done. It's hard to get good work done. Okay, we're actually dealing with each of these here. So first of all, social media. The social media distraction. Social media. As I mentioned, I turn off notifications on my phone, and I turn off notifications, even the website notifications on like Chrome or Firefox. I always click on Don't Allow. And there's a Chrome plugin called Newsfeed Eradicator that basically doesn't show you the newsfeed if you go on Facebook. A lot of us have to go on Facebook for work, right? Social media managers, maybe you check your clients' Facebook pages, Facebook groups, Facebook ads. You have to go on Facebook for work, but then you say, okay, I'm going to set up a Facebook ad. So you go to Facebook, and then you say, oh, there's a cute baby picture. And then you get distracted. That happens, because we have to go on Facebook, and Facebook's job is to distract you. Newsfeed Eradicator kind of takes care of that. It eliminates your newsfeed, so you don't have a newsfeed anymore. It's very boring, but there are no distractions, or there are less distractions. Notifications, turn them off as much as possible. Okay. On my phone is actually 90% of the time it's on silent. It's on Do Not Disturb. Even when somebody calls, I don't see it. I don't hear it. Because I don't expect people to call. If it's important, they're going to send me a message anyway. Okay. Next we have reactive. So reactive work is when we have to react to like Skype messages, Slack messages, and so on. So turn off notifications again. Because when you're in the middle of work, have you tried it? You're in the middle of work, maybe you're writing something, you're in deep work, you're really feeling it, and then you see a Skype message pop up, and then you have to reply to it. And then when you try to go back to work, you've lost the momentum. So when you're in your 25-minute Pomodoro, or however long Pomodoro, you want to make sure that the notifications are off. In Windows, there's a way to turn off all the notifications, and even mute, put your speakers on mute, because those auditory distractions, those sounds are very distracting. Set expectations about breaks, especially when it comes to family. So remember, we have 5-minute breaks in between, especially when it comes to family. You want to let them know that you'll get to them when you're on your break. So 25 minutes, you're doing deep work, maybe you have your own room where you do work, your own office, and then after the 25 minutes, that's when you can go outside and then, talk to your family and so on. But those 25 minutes, as much as possible, you should not have those distractions. All right? Next, we have the visual distractions. So work in a place with minimal distractions. Sometimes at home is a distraction for a lot of people. I know we work from home as freelancers, that's a benefit, but it's also a curse because sometimes home is very distracting. So maybe you need to go to a co-working space, maybe you need to go to a cafe to get work done. Next, we have auditory distractions. My recommendation here is to listen to focused music. Focused music is usually like binaural beats. There's a whole study about that. It's called binaural, B-I-N-A-U-R-A-L, binaural beats. And it's work music that gets you kind of in work mode when you listen to it. And sometimes when I have trouble focusing, I listen to focused music, and then it gets me into the focused work. Focused music is music without lyrics. That's very important. It's without lyrics because lyrics are distracting. You start singing, you start listening to the song, and then you're distracted. This is music without the lyrics. It's not classical music also, because maybe you'll fall asleep if you're listening to classical music. It's like it's like club music. So it kind of gets your heart racing, but there's no lyrics. I use Brain.fm. It's a service that you can sign up for. They also have free. I'm on the paid account, but they have a free account as well. Focus at Work is another app. It's more expensive though. That's why I have Brain.fm here. It's cheaper. On Spotify, there are also focus playlists. If you look for focus or you search for work playlists, you can actually listen to those playlists on Spotify, and they don't have any lyrics, and they're mostly upbeat songs, which is instruments. Okay, next is the moves. So once again, we're going back to meditation. Meditation, and if I can add here, starting the day right, practicing the savers, practicing Miracle Morning will help you get over your moods and be more focused when it comes to work. All right. Now, this is something separate. Do you have any questions so far? Yes, H.
How do you apply that when you have kids?
So it's hard. Like I don't have kids personally, but I know it's harder when you do have kids. If your kids are old enough, then you can set expectations with them. That specific times are work times. I know that. Well, I've read because I'm a part of a lot of forums online. That a lot of the parents they have a specific room in the office that the kids really aren't allowed. So there's that expectation that they're not allowed in the room, and you have to be strict with your kids, obviously. So there's a time and place, a specific for work. But if they're not old enough, then that's harder. If they're babies, that's even hardest, I guess. Because they won't understand. I didn't tell them. You can't cry. You can also go to a co-working space and then have somebody watch your kid if that's possible. But yeah, setting expectations. If the kid's mature enough, that's what I recommend. Yes, there's a question in the back. Oh yes, great.
Something that I realized one about last year.
Maybe you can give your microphone.
So it's on music, and it's something that I realized when I got to learn. So that we began from listening to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of music, but specifically when you mention music without words, there's one radio station that plays 3 hours of non-stop music, which is called a state of trance. And basically what it does is if you want to get uninterrupted work, you actually will get that uninterrupted work because it's straight 3 hours. And the funny thing is that if you want to realize that it's quite good music, there is no adverts, there is no casting, there is no dirty talk and things like that. And the best thing is that it actually has a viewer and some listenership of about 45 million people.
So trans.
That's just one of them. I mean, there are many of them, but I'm just saying for people that want to, get a smooth transition from what you're used to listening to, to find out whether you like that or not.
Yeah, thank you. Trance it's the high energy music. The high energy music. Trance is good. Some of them have lyrics, but some of them don't have lyrics. But it has that club feel that will get you more in the mood to work. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you spell binaural beats? Was it binaural beats?
B-I-N-A-U-R-A-L. Binaural. B-I-N-A-U-R-A-L.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. Yes, YouTube also has focus music.
There's like for programmers, coders.
Yeah, YouTube. Thank you. YouTube also has some free playlists, or if you look for work for programmers, especially for programmers, that's very focused work as well. If you look, there are playlists on YouTube, on Spotify, and so on. All right. Thank you. So, moving, binaural beats, you have the spelling there. Anyone wants to take a picture or write that down? So, we just finished talking about the Pomodoro technique and eliminating distractions and getting a lot of work done during the day. But another aspect I still find important is shutting down. And this is, when you're on your computer, a computer has shut down. You shut down your computer, and shutting down is when you stop working. So in order for us to remain efficient and be able to focus on the other aspects of our life, we need to shut down. Shutting down means completely stopping work at a certain time. So this includes actions, thoughts, and even ideas. So I find this even the thoughts and ideas, you have to let go of work totally. And this is something that's very hard to do. Because even like when you're out with friends, you're still thinking about work. Who's guilty of that? When you're with friends, you're still checking your email, you're still replying to clients. And then your friends who aren't there, we have a few raised hands. Your friends who aren't in that world, it actually feels bad for them. Because the person wants to spend time with you, and then you're on your phone replying to emails. And it's not that you can say, oh, you don't understand, and so on. But if you want to focus on your family and friends aspect of your life, then you should really be able to shut down. Shutting down also is also good for work, especially when it comes to creativity. When it comes to good ideas, I find that I am most creative, that I have the greatest ideas when I can let go and take breaks from work. Total breaks, not just stopping working, but stop thinking about working. And that's when you have the creative recovery for you to, when you come back to work, you're fresh. And then that's when you have really good ideas. If you're a creative, like if you do design work of any kind, even if you're a writer, that's really important. Even for somebody who does programming, that's also important because even though it's very technical, sometimes you have to take things at a new angle and address problems in a different manner. So that's why I find shutting down extremely important, not only for your other aspects of life, but even for your work. So in the book Deep Work, there is the shutdown cycle. So this is also from the book Deep Work. There is the shutdown cycle, which is, first of all, so when you're preparing to shut down, because sometimes you remember the days when computers would take like 10 minutes to shut down. Maybe you don't remember, but I remember. It would take 10 minutes for a computer to shut down. You couldn't turn it off immediately. So there's a shutdown cycle. Because you can't just stop working and that's it. You won't be able to fully shut down. So first of all, you should reply to anything urgent. So reply to messages, reply to emails, make sure they get out of the way. Because if you don't reply to them now, and you try to stop working, you'll have to reply to them later. Or they'll stay in your head. You'll keep thinking about them. Next, empty your thoughts and tasks to your list. So one of the problems that people have that they're unable to shut down is they keep on thinking about, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. But when you write everything down on your list, you will be able to let go. Because you know, you have the assurance that everything is on your list. And sometimes it happens. Like to me personally, sometimes I realize, even though I'm not working, I realize, oh, I have to do this. What I do is I add it to my list is on my phone, I add it to my list so that I can just let it go and continue on with things that are not work related. So empty your thoughts and add them to your list. Browse upcoming tasks. So now that you've listed everything down in your task list, look at your upcoming tasks and then make a rough plan for the next day. So this also gives you the assurance, like after you shut down, this also gives you the assurance that you have a plan. Because sometimes when you try to shut down, we think, oh, this is how I'm going to address, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. But if you do the planning before, during your shutdown cycle, you have a much better chance of being able to let go of working and doing other things in life. And then that's when you can do your other activities. Okay, so this shutdown cycle, I recommend you do it if you're trying to shut down, rather than just stopping work altogether. Go through each one of these so that you can let go of your work. You can spend time, if you have kids, you can spend time with your kids, with your loved ones, with your friends, fully without you being distracted by work and without you sacrificing that time that you're supposed to spend with your loved ones and then working instead. Okay. So another discussion here is time blocking. So time blocking is a way to plan your entire day or week around being efficient with your time. And for some people, this is hard to do, and I realize it's hard to do because you can't always plan everything. Things come up in life, so you can't always plan everything. But we can have something we call an ideal schedule. An ideal schedule. A lot of times it won't be followed because an emergency comes up. Like if your kid, has to go to the hospital, you can't say it's not the time for you to go to the hospital. So you can't do that. So it's an ideal schedule. Once again, don't be so strict with it that you don't bring your kid to the hospital if they have to go. Now, when you're planning your day or you're planning your week, however you want to do it, you can plan different kinds of activities. So we have different kinds of activities that we plan here in the next slide. We have the work activities. We have immersive work, and this is kind of a technical discussion, but I'm running through this because we're running out of time. But if you can take screenshots and go back to this, that would be very helpful because I don't expect you to kind of grasp all this right now. So there's immersive work, which is complex thinking that requires alertness, working, memory, and immersion. And this is usually what we call the deep work. This is the work that requires a lot of focus. Writing, designing, strategizing, researching, creating reports, doing critical analysis. We also have routine work. This is routinary work, and these are things that you do a lot. These are embedded with practice. Usually you don't have to think so much to do them. Like organizing, housekeeping, doing routine reports. We all have these kinds of work where it's easy because we do them every day maybe or every week. So these are routine work. It's different from immersive work. For immersive work, you need the focus. This is where you apply the Pomodoros. Routine, maybe not so much because even without Pomodoros, you can do it with your eyes closed. Of course, keep your eyes open, but the idiom with your eyes closed. Next, interactive work. And this requires patience and empathy. This requires patience and empathy. So this is emails, phone calls, collaboration, brainstorming, social media engagement. This is interactive work. And it's separate from immersive work. It's separate from routine work. Well, sometimes they can mix up if you have tasks that are interactive and routinary. But a lot of the times these are three different separate kinds of work. We're defining them here because they require different amounts of concentration. They require different kinds of energy. This requires empathy, for example. This one, you don't really need empathy to do immersive work. So you can kind of plan around when you're creating your time blocking. You can kind of plan around these different kinds of work. Now, we also have non-work stuff, but it's still important. Okay. First is practice, and this is kind of related to work, that it helps you build muscle memory, it helps you build concentration, helps you create routines. Even though this isn't work, this helps you with work. If you're learning a musical instrument, if you play sports, which requires muscle memory, which requires, like if you're playing basketball, you have to memorize sets, unless you're playing without basketball, where you don't have defensive and offensive sets. But usually you have sets if you're playing a little bit serious. And also languages. It helps you build, it basically trains your brain. It will help you with work as well. Okay. Next, we've got physical activity, which is also important. Requires strength and coordination, usually exercise, or if you have to do construction projects at home, that's also physical activity. We've also got creativity, which is no pressure, free-flowing creativity. And this is where a lot of genius occurs if you're a creative person. So this is usually not work-related. This is like personal projects wherein you can express your creativity. And then also very important is recharging. These are recharge activities, like eating, that's obvious recharge activity. You don't want to do too much of eating as well, okay? Because instead of recharging, it will make you sleepy too much. Meditating, playing games, your kids, your pets, watching TV, reading. Once again, you don't want to do too much of this because anyone, like doing these in small doses will recharge you, but doing too much of these will actually make you too tired. And we've got sleep. I've separated recharge from sleep just because you don't want to just say sleep is my recharge. You also have other recharge activities. It's important. I find it's very important for us to recharge, not just for personal, but also for work. Okay. So a sample. I saw a lot of you guys taking pictures, and or moving forward. Okay. A sample time block schedule or master schedule is something like this. So let's say your waking hours are 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So you have your morning routine. If you use savers, you cooking and eating, which is recharge. I just colored them kind of towards different categories. It looks nice, you know. And you can see like the immersive work is this brown pinkish color. We have routinary work, usually replying to emails. Also, interactive work is replying to emails, replying to message. Routinary work, you might have to generate reports and things like that. And then you have immersive work, like cooking and eating. More immersive work, exercise, practice, which is not actually work, but it can help you with work, interactive stuff. So this is, for me, I find that I have to do replying to messages at the beginning of the day and then at the end of the day. Recharge, which you can like watching TV, playing with your kids, doing some creativity, and at the end, you have another set of recharge stuff. Okay. Let me put that. We have time. Okay. So work, it's time for another activity. Okay. So what I want you to do is, once again, on your sheets, create your ideal master schedule or your ideal time blocking. Even just one day, or if you want the whole week, you can do that as well. But ideal. It doesn't need to be something you practice 100%, but ideally, what is your time blocking like? So maybe you can write the time, like put time blocks in your notepad, and then write what kind of work you're gonna do during those specific hours. So we're gonna ask on the microphone. We're gonna ask 5 people if you're willing to share, willing to share your answers to the activities. We know it's personal, but maybe we have 5 people who are willing to share, and then you will get a prize from PayPal.
What is the price?
Or any thousand. So you'll get a $20, not $20,000. We're having $20,000. That's what we do. You get a $20 credit. So it's like 1,100 pesos almost, right? Or 1,000-ish pesos. So yeah, you get a $20 into your PayPal account if you're one of the 5 who's going to share later. Okay? And if you want to be one of the 5, it's first come, first serve. So if you want to be one of the 5, then I guess can you keep track of the people who raise their hand first, or let you know. So just let us know first. Think about it. We're giving you this time to think. Oh, we already have 1. We already have 2. We already have 3. We have 4. 1. But it's going to be later. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh, 5. Okay. We have the 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have. Oh, your name? Yeah. What's your name? Sorry. Alan. Dea. Jen,
Johnny Ray.
Johnny, 1, 2, 3, 4, and
One.
Bon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, thank you. So we'll give you the time to collect yourselves, and then we'll ask you at the end to share. Before the sharing, though, we have our final major topic for today, which is positivity. Okay. A lot of you guys mentioned earlier that the number one thing from stopping you from reaching your potential was fear. And positivity helps take care of that. As a lot of us know, we are our own worst enemies. We are the ones who stop ourselves from achieving our potentials. The number one thing, that stops us is ourselves. And what part of ourselves stops us? We have 3 parts here. First of all is fear. Second is self-doubt. And third is ego. So for us to achieve our potentials, we have to really fight against ourselves. We have to fight against our own instincts of fear, of self-doubt, and of ego. Now, first of all, I'll just give some people time to take the pictures. So, first of all, we're going to talk about fear. And fear is different for all of us. But most of our fears that hold us back, the fear of spiders, that's probably not going to hold you back from achieving more in freelancing. But the fears that do hold us back are things like the fear of rejection, fear of failure, and fear of ridicule. And maybe we have some other fears, but they can be related, or they can be, if you find the source, we'll find that these are the source of a lot of those fears. Rejection by clients, rejection by peers, rejection by our friends, fear of failure, fear of not achieving what we want, and fear of ridicule. And these fears, usually we think, okay, I'm scared. And we end up not doing the things that we need to do. A lot of times we know that we need to do something, but because we're scared, we don't do them. Now, I just want to go into like a fantasy world and ask you this question here. What would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Go forward.
Be able to go forward. Okay? Fear holds us back a lot of the time. And you can ask yourself this later on as well. And you can write it down. We don't have time for another activity, but you can ask yourself this question and write down your answers to it. Be able to look at your own, yourself and see what you can actually get done. Just pretend. A lot of times our fears even stop us from thinking of the things that we can do. So just pretend for a few minutes and ask yourself, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Now, we don't do the things, the answer to the question, which you're going to have. We don't do these things because our fears end up controlling us. Our fears end up controlling us. What you have to do is stop letting fear control you. Now, I want to share with you a quote over here. And this is a quote I mention pretty often. That courage is not the absence of fear. It is realizing that something is more important than fear. Something is more important than the possibility of getting rejected. It could be achieving your goals. It could be attaining your vision. But realizing that something is more important than your fear and being able to act in the face of fear, that's what courage really is. Now, the second thing that stops us from achieving a lot is our self-doubt and our negative self-talk. Statements that we tell ourselves, such as, you can't do that, or you don't deserve that. And we have these voices in our head, sometimes especially when we see other people, like, this is very common when we browse through Facebook and we see somebody who is very successful or has achieved some goal of ours, and we tell ourselves, oh, that person can do it, I can't. I don't deserve that, but that person does. And that is self-doubt, that is negative self-talk. So how do we address that? First of all, you should ask yourself, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? A lot of times our self-doubt and negative self-talk is just our brains telling us these things. We realize that they're not logical statements. That these are just things that we believe, but we really have no basis of thinking that way. And sometimes maybe there's something that we can do to improve ourselves. If it's more skills, if it's more practice that we need, maybe we can improve ourselves to get to a certain point. But a lot of the times, it's just our brains telling us. A lot of the times, we do deserve the thing, or we can achieve the things that we think we don't deserve or we can't achieve. And the way to do that is with positive self-talk. So opposite of negative self-talk is positive self-talk. And with positive self-talk, one example is affirmations. We mentioned this in the Miracle Morning. So affirmations, the affirmations that you write are usually the reverse of the negative self-talk we tell ourselves. And each of us have our own negative self-talk. No matter how confident you are, no matter how successful you are, you have your own voices in your head, not the crazy voices, okay, but you have your own voices in your head telling you these negative thoughts. And then you're the only one who's aware of these thoughts. And then you can write your affirmations which counter these thoughts. When you feel your negative self-talk coming, sometimes we can feel it, right? Sometimes we can feel it triggered, the term triggered, and you can feel it when you're going to be negative. Then you can say, okay, it's coming. I can use my positive self-talk. It takes practice, but if you can counter, why don't you put up a shield to protect yourself using your positive self-talk, then you can get more practice in getting over the negative self-talk. All right, moving on to ego. This is the third part of ourselves that stop us. Now, ego is when we primarily worry about ourselves when we do something. And ego isn't, a lot of people think that ego is, being mayabang. Being mayabang. And that's not it. That can be ego, but ego can also be when you are people who say they are very humble or very shy. I don't want to do that because I'm shy. That is ego speaking. Because you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking, what will others think? Both senses. When you're very mayabang, you want others to think very highly of you. That's why you pretend. But if you're very, shy isn't the right word, but I'll just use it in this context. When you're shy, you're wondering, what will others think? Because you're thinking about yourself, and that's your ego talking. What if I fail? That's another example. Also, what if people think I'm dumb? What if the client doesn't like me? What if I can't do it? When you're self-conscious, right? When you're self-conscious, a lot of the time that's ego. Actually all the time that's ego. Because if you didn't worry about what others would think, you wouldn't worry about, what others would think. You wouldn't have that self-conscious block stopping you from achieving things, from doing their answers to the activities. So let's give these people, let's start off with Dea. Round of applause for Dea. I'm sorry. Maximum of 5 minutes for the sharing, guys. So don't share your entire life story. Okay. But more of your answers to the activities earlier.
The 3 items that I marked the improvement on are family and friends, which I rank number 7 right now, personal development number 8, and then health and fitness number 4. Okay, so for the family and friends, I want it to be on level 8. What I can do about it is that I will devote a day to play and bond with the babies. And then for personal development from level 8 to level 9, I will need to learn those courses that I purchased and then to practice my handwriting skills. And then for the health and fitness from level 4 to level 7, I will be exercising my abs and cardio type of it. And then for my schedule, I didn't list that because I already have it in Google Calendar. Nice. So if there's a schedule that's coming up, I'm just gonna select that. And I'm always telling you, wait, I'm just gonna check the schedule. And then for the productivity, the effective app that I use is the Brain FM. I'm also subscribe to that because yung focus music, yung napaka-effective sa akin yung focus music na yun. So, pag 2 hours, hindi ka napapansin na tapos ang pala 2 hours, then I extended to 30 minutes. I think you. Thank you.
Round of applause for Jada. Next we've got Jen.
So, for my development life and goals, first yung family and friends, where I am right now, currently 6, I think. Since sa bahay naman ako nagtatrabaho, so for family, ang hirap nang isingit yung exercise. So I think, currently at 5, planning to push na yung diet and exercise. Para, yun, siyempre siguro ang gusto natin ma-achieve is up to level 10 for the next 3 months. Yung next task, yun sa Eisenhower box. Naglagay lang ako ng 3 activities kasi I think for next week. Number 1, finish yung, meron kasi akong in-enrollan na course currently. And I'm planning to finish that course in 2 weeks. So, important siya, pero hindi siya masyadong urgent. So, doon ko siya nilagay sa second quadrant. Then, moving dun sa susunod na task, yung course na yun, I'm planning to bring it down into smaller, which is siguro finish at least one module per week. Then, 1 lesson per day. So, yun.
Round of applause for Jen. Next up, we've got Johnny.
Hey, thanks guys. How are y'all? Alright, so I'm Johnny Ray. I want to just, before I get started, I want to say thank you guys for putting this on, because this was like, really does help as well. Y'all agree? Yeah! So on my activities, on the level 10 stuff, did anybody here get any 10s? Because I didn't put a 10 down on anything. I didn't put a 1 down on anything either. And so it all kind of fluctuated more toward the middle for me. Family and friends was a 4. Hello. Okay. Yeah, the Eisenhower box was really good for me. Thanks for that. So, you got to get that book. Habits of, yeah, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But that really does show me, okay, I need to actually put a lot more focus on certain activities and kind of put other stuff that I'm putting more activities that I don't, more time into the do. So, anyway, I won't go into all that. But, I guess that's it. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Next we've got Alan.
Hi guys. So same thing. So thank you for this talk. It reminds me a lot of what I used to do before. It's a good reminder. So first off, family and friends, I give myself 7 because freelancers tayo, so we see our family a lot. So I guess to get to 10, you just have to see each other face to face and not emailing or Viber or stuff like that. Number 2, personal development. So I kind of sunk on personal development. I gave myself a 6 because I focus too much on work. So I guess I have to keep upgrading my skills, especially right now, dami nang kalaban sa work, stuff like that. So you have to learn new courses over the internet and read books. Spirituality, same thing. I used to be a 10, now I'm a 3. So I have to pray and meditate more. Thank you again for reminding me of that. And finances, good thing we're earning dollars, so I gave myself a 9. That's not it. That's not an exchange rate. So because it's a 9 to get to a 10, you invest more and attend more financial talk. And career business, right now I'm kind of getting tired of my job in freelance, so I give myself a 5. And so to get back to a 10, I have to keep exploring and attending really awesome talks like this. And marriage, 0. But since freelancing came, I wasn't able to move that much anymore. So to get back to a 10, I have to go back to the gym, try more. And in Kanban, the Eisenhower box, so good thing I had 1 for each box. So in the delete portion, so I quit Facebook, yay! It's a distraction. Number 2, delegate, so I guess the biggest wasters of my time is cooking and washing the dishes. I hate washing the dishes, so I guess I can delegate someone to do that for me. And on deciding, the decide portion, so as I said, I'm getting bored with my freelance work, so I have to find other gigs and probably be in a business, so that's my decide. And then the do, so as we all have jobs in freelancing here, so just keep doing the work that you have every week. Or is that one more. Okay, so lastly, so 6 a.m. ako nagising, so now 5 a.m. to give way to the morning routine that he has suggested, and everything else is probably the same, except that I will sleep earlier by 1 hour so I can wake up earlier. Thank you so much.
Starting to explore the possibilities, and lastly, the physical environment. I also gave it a negative rate because you don't want to see my house. Total mess. So I think organization is 1. Organization is definitely 1, and with the finances, what I'm going to practice is if you've heard of Rutherford, he has a book. It's 100%, 70%, 170, 20, and 10. I mean, earn 100%, spend 70%, give 10% back, and invest 20%. I know about that, but I haven't practiced it. So as soon as I get a job and people start paying me, I'll be practicing that. And for the career, one thing I would do is find a job. First thing I would do is find a job. And definitely, actually, Jason here is very helpful in giving tips on how to come up with good profiles for outsourced freelancers like us. And finally, for physical environment, I'll start cleaning my house. and organizing things and putting it in order. I think order is very, very, very important for freelancers like that, for anybody for that matter, but especially for us, because since we work at home, we want to have an organized home as well, right? Okay, and then the Eisenhower box. I'm sorry, this is just on the top of my mind. The Eisenhower box. I also want to focus on those three. Those three became the immediate and where's that? The two things, the urgent and the important. These are the negative. Oh, by the way, back to the level 10. My target is not really for one to, since it's a balanced life, my target is to make it balanced. Whether they're all at 7 or they're all at 8. But they all have to be equal so that it will be balanced. Family life, marriage life, finances, and whatnot. And finally, for the Eisenhower box, I'm going to focus on the three things that I mentioned a while ago, the finances, the career, as well as the physical environment as urgent and important. And that's that.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing. To everybody who shared, it's something that's very personal. So we do appreciate you sharing, a part of your life with us as well. Round of applause once again for everybody. Okay, so this is a recap of what we talked about today. These were just the current bullet points of the major topics we have. We talked about meditation, mission statement, we talked about the balanced life, positive self-talk, ego, savers, the Eisenhower box, your task or to-do list, breaking things down, using PayPal, the Pomodoro technique, shutdown time, and time blocking, giving people a few more moments to take a picture of the screen. But this is, we talked about a lot of things today. Well, each of these things could have been discussed in more detail. Like we have, like this is all these things are kind of like worth a 1 week workshop. But of course we don't have 1 week. But I did give you some books to read, and you can search more on these the specific topics that spoke to you more. So these are the 3 points that we tried to cover today. Beginning your work with a positive outlook. Do you think we covered that? Achieving high productivity anytime and anywhere. And then stopping procrastination and having quality time. We talked about that?
Yes.
Yay! So we got past the things that were done today. Well, I do want to leave you with the quote here, just to remind everybody about courage, because we could all use some courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's not fear not being there. We all will have fear unless we're crazy. You will have fear, but realizing that your goals and your visions, that your aspects of your life are more important than fear, that's having courage. And that will really help you get to the next level in the different aspects of your life. Thank you so much, guys.
So thank you for being our work-life balance master for today's session. Talagang naging super helpful siya. It's really a reminder. Actually, we know the basic, but we just need to be reminded of it. Tama, diba? Kailangan lang natin ma-remind of this one. So, balance that. So, we have 10 minutes, question and answer. We have questions.
I need to use the rest.
Okay. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, sorry. If you have questions, write it down. We can talk about it. So for those who Philippines with the one outside to get your details for the rent. And also remind everyone, you can share your photos. Don't forget to put it in the hashtag Freelancer. So tag us so we can share your photos.
Hi Jason, super great talk.
Thank you.
Question about shutting down. Is shutting down really more about pausing work, or is it more about pausing your inbox? I.e., you can still think about work and strategy, except you're not in a reactive mode.
In my opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, it's not just pausing your inbox, but really letting go of work, even letting go of strategies for work. And this is for, I'm going to give two reasons why I believe that. First of all is if you want to be present when you're doing other activities, when you're with...
Not so much just not being reactive.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so of the books that you had mentioned in the presentation, and there was a few, which book would you recommend reading first, and just really why is all of it?
What's the second part of the question?
Why?
Why? Okay. So the book I would recommend first is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Yeah. And the reason I recommend that is it kind of like a lot of the things mentioned here are actually in that book. Maybe in different forms and different manners, but they're in that book. And it kind of gives an overview of different, like the 7 habits that we needed. When we talk about the other books like Deep Work, Miracle Morning, they focus on one aspect in detail. But if you want to kind of get the summary of everything, then 7 habits is there. And once you have the basics of the 7 habits, then you can go into the more detailed, like deep work and so on.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions? Any questions?
Over here.
My question is about level 10. Is our goal to reach that for all aspects, or is it possible to achieve balance in ideals for all items? Like, I know a lot of it is subjective, but I just want to know. I just want to get to a point that I'm happy with my life, even if I don't support it. Like, is that possible? Because I think the activity is meant to allow us to measure the work-life balance that we try to achieve, but is it possible to be happy and say to yourself that I'm enjoying my life, I think I'm achieving a certain level of balance, even if I don't support no.
Okay, that's a good question, and I find that, like you said, very subjective. Personally, if I'm able to score an 8 in every aspect, then I'd say I'm pretty happy with my life. And this further, it becomes more of a philosophy. Like, I personally believe that as human beings, we always try to pursue something. Even though we're happy, we always try to achieve or do more. So even though you reach an 8 in all aspects, and I personally believe that nobody can ever reach a 10. Like nobody can ever be perfect, but the pursuit of perfection is always there. It doesn't mean you're unhappy with your life and you pursue more, but it's just that you have something to look forward to still. Because if you're contented, and then you no longer pursue anything, then you start losing purpose. But yeah, so you can be happy and then continue pursuing, even though you're not content. Thank you. You're welcome.
I just want to add to what Mark was saying. Because, as a mom, it's really difficult for us to maintain this work-life balance. And I read this book that work-life balance is bullshit because we have to let go of things for you to achieve that kind of balance. So I think it's more prioritizing what you need to do and what's important for you at the moment because your priorities change over time. And happiness is really something that we pursue, as you have mentioned. It is something that we pursue. But as mothers, we really need to know first which are priorities or where our priorities lie, and that's the key to really having a full life. Because, for example, as a freelancer, it's very difficult to make balance. As a mom, get clients. When you get clients, when you target certain amounts for your finances, it can mean suffering for your kids, for your time with your kids, time with your family. So what really matters most is what you're prioritizing at the moment, what your goals are. So I guess it's not really more of achieving that kind of equilibrium. It's more of what you need to prioritize first.
I agree. Priorities are really important, and I think it can tie back to the mission statement. Like, what are you really trying to achieve in life? And if what you're doing is in line with your mission statement, then I assume that you can be happy. The whole work-life balance is bullshit. I think Shonda Rhimes is the one who made that popular. Yeah, she has to talk about it.
Hi. So, in life thoughts, they say that right now it's about work-life harmony. What is your view on this? And do you think, possibly, how would you practice work-life harmony if you should be in it? Thank you.
I'm a little confused by the question.
Basically, I want to ask what your views are on work-life harmony, because it's basically saying that work-life balance is bullshit, and it's all about work-life harmony. Simply put, it's when she was saying that it couldn't be. There's really not a real balancing act that is happening, but it's really about communicating your changing needs to the people around you and being conscious about what matters and what is important to you in this particular period of time, which was that stage. So, what are your views on this kind of thought?
Well, when we say work-life balance, for me, it's not that they have a point of happiness or of contentment. It's going to be different from what Erlene or from what Mark is trying to achieve. My view on that is it really is up to you. It really is up to you. I don't think that in the whole work-life balance, I think that people put too much stake into 50-50 work-life balance, which is why the work-life balance is bullshit thing became popular, because there's 50-50. It's not really 50-50. It really is up to the person. Like for Shonda Rhimes, she made it clear that for her happiness, she has to be earning a certain amount, and maybe her 10 in family life is not the 10 for my family life. So it really is personal. That's what I would say. For you to achieve harmony, or whatever term you use, harmony, balance, or whatever you see as your 10s, your 9s, your 8s, then go for that.
Thank you, Jason, for that words. As if you have final words to our freelancers. So, last advice, short and sweet. Yes,
Okay, so my last advice, well, I had the quote here, but I'm gonna add another last advice. My last advice is don't measure your success and don't measure your happiness by somebody else's yardstick, by somebody else's ruler. Come up with your own measurement, and that's what you pursue. Don't pursue what other people are pursuing. Pursue what makes you happy.